Good morning. I am in my car today, um, waiting to see if we get Elder Hall on here. We may actually have something to talk about today. Um, for those of y'all who've been keeping up with our God's will and your love life, we are talking about femininity and masculinity. And if we get Elder Hall, bring Elder Hall on camera. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you
Um,
doing?
I'm good. Is my connection okay?
It's okay right now.
Okay. Um, it seems like it's breaking up a little bit on my end, so I can't tell if that's me or if that's on your end. So how's it going?
Eh, It's going all right. You kind of breaking up. You just sounded great. What happened? You just sounded great. Now you're breaking up.
Okay, is that better?
I mean, as long as the people can hear, I mean, I'm okay. But you're breaking up far as I can tell. We're getting people to join in now, Marva, and you're breaking up.
I'm breaking up.
Yeah. But
Is it the digital or is it audio?
it's um, I mean, I hear you a little bit. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, it
Um,
got better, I think.
yeah, it's a
Is that
little bit.
better?
Yeah, let's just hope your screen doesn't freeze up again. Let's do this.
Okay.
So
Um,
as you can see, I'm walking this morning.
I'm sitting in the car,
Well,
so
yeah, I understand. But, I'm walking.
yeah, there's no method to when I exercise it. Sometimes it's morning, sometimes it's evening, so there's no consistency.
Huh.
It's to the time of day. So, um, first thoughts. I've been off of social media for a few days, and I got on and saw a post about Mother Gaston. Um, Mississippi, Northern Mississippi, I believe she's a supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
has transitioned.
Oh my.
Um, and if that word is correct, she's one of those mothers that was very influential in my life.
Oh wow.
She is the sister to the late Supervisor C. So the supervisor in North Mississippi and the late supervisor in Tennessee were sisters.
It's interesting. Like the bishop in Mississippi and the bishop in Eastern Tennessee are brothers. That's crazy.
Yeah. Um, the Sean who used to be on here with us regularly it's his aunt.
Oh, it says
And
on. Okay.
yeah, and so I was very close to that entire family growing up, and so my condolences um, go out to them. I need to find out some more detail about what's going on.
Yeah, you need to find out what's going on with that, Marva. You need to find out what's going on with that.
Um, she's also the aunt of First Lady Whitelaw,
Oh wow.
because First Lady Whitelaw is the late Supervisor C's daughter,
Yes.
and so Supervisor Gaston was her aunt.
All right. Well, for those of us who are listening that are not Kojic, that means a lot to me and Marva. And for the rest of
Yeah,
you, not so
it's
much.
family business in the
So,
Church of God in Christ.
but
So
we're praying for them. That is
definitely,
that's going to be an issue for them to deal with, and God will bring healing in His time.
amen. All right, so let's hit the topic. We have been talking about God's will and your love life. and we've talked
Yes.
a little bit about femininity, and today we're gonna talk about masculinity.
Masculinity.
Tell the Lord, thank you.
Thank you. Now, before we start talking about that, I want to make sure that we understand that there definitely is, regardless of the political nonsense around it, there definitely is a concept of what is masculinity. If there wasn't, then you would not have any such thing as transgenderism, because these transgenders, they act in accordance with whatever stereotypical dispensations the other gender has. So a woman who is
Give an
transgendering,
example. Yeah, give an
so
example.
she acts extra masculine or whatever she thinks extra manly is. She acts that way. Transgender woman doesn't act like a woman being a man. She tries to act like a man who is a woman.
Even just saying that sounds so like loop de loop.
Stupid. Doesn't it sound crazy?
I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you this much. I When a man smacks when he talks, that tears my nerves so bad.
Mm-mm-mm. This is not going to stay on Facebook very long. They're going to tear it down. We ain't going to be on.
They're gonna send us. They're gonna send us back somewhere else.
Yeah, they ain't going to
Yeah,
let
when
this
a
stay
man
long.
I,
Yeah,
that right there,
right.
like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you another thing. A man that does not have an awareness of chivalry.
Hmm.
That I've
All
already
right. So
spoken my
now,
piece on chivalry,
hold
but
on. See now.
I
Wait, wait,
can't
wait.
let that die.
We need to see talk about that in conjunction with masculinity. When I think that that is a condition of manhood, which I know you're like, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is there are some things that go into making a man that are unique to the maturation of a man. But masculinity in general,
When I was a child, I thought
right,
as a child.
right. But masculinity is a different type of quality. While it's part of manhood for sure, it's not the full maturity of what manhood
So, are you
is.
saying you can be a man and not be masculine?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for
Okay.
sure. But what I'm really saying is that being chivalrous is not a disqualifier for being a man, for being masculine.
Oh, okay. So it may be a disqualifier for being my man. Maybe that's the issue.
Well, there you go. There you
Maybe
go.
that's the issue on the
There you go.
table.
There you go. So
Maybe
chivalry is
we
a
need to
different.
clarify that.
It's a secondary quality. It's a secondary situation.
A secondary. Say
Yes,
it isn't so.
it is. Well, because there are several men who are very manly that ain't very chivalrous, and
Okay. I'm sorry. Let's stop thinking about me again and what I am assuming. It's like buying a car and only to find out that there's no AC. Like, there may be for somebody that may be okay,
right. But
but
you need AC.
for me,
You live in the South. You
you
gotta
know
have
what? It don't
AC.
really matter where I live. I want to be able to turn a knob, push a button, and some air come flow. I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to roll. Some things I just kind of
Take for granted. They should
okay,
just be there,
fine.
huh?
Okay, yeah,
I
maybe
ain't
that
mad.
is.
I'm not mad at you. No argument for me. You ain't got no argument for me. I'm with you.
Here's the thing. I do the t-shirt designs yet, and one thing that's on one of my newest designs, it says "continue to spoil,"
Mm.
and it says underneath it, there's nothing you can do with a spoiled woman other than continue to spoil her.
That is the truth.
You can't really downgrade
You
me right now.
you can. Yeah, that's right. You can't. It ain't gonna get worse, dog. You can't. You gonna cause a problem if you don't continue. When you create the monster, you got to keep on feeding it.
Well, the problem may be the fact that my daddy created the monster.
Right. Yeah.
So I was raised a certain way. So, I was dating this guy, and at the time I was driving, an SUV, and he was explaining to me that he was going to buy me a Kia, and I was like, "Why? Why are you buying me a Kia?" He's like, "It's a good car," and da da da. Da. I'm like, "Okay," but I'm driving this here Swedish car, and you trying to tell me you gonna put me in a Kia? Yeah, we always had issues. He used to tell me that if I stopped talking, he would if I wasn't so smart in the mouth, he would take me out to eat more. And I was like,
Is that what he said?
and you know how I am. I'm like, do I look like I was hungry before you showed up? Really? Clearly, I was not starving before you showed up. What?
Clearly,
What?
clearly, you were not starving.
I was not starving. I'm trying. I don't know. Anyway, that is so sidebar.
Yes, it
Um.
is. But it coincides with what we're talking about this week. That there is definitely a crisis of masculinity in our community, and part of it is because you have a establishment that is referring to masculinity now as toxic, as if it's a bad thing.
Well, and they're referring to femininity and masculinity if they're toxic. And what let's talk about the agenda behind making masculinity toxic or appear to be toxic.
They want to destroy
What's
the
the agenda
boys.
behind?
They want to destroy the boys.
But
Listen,
what do they gain from doing that?
you,
There's always a gain.
there's always a game. Exactly, exactly. When men lose their independence and their ability to be men, to think for themselves, to be strong, then you have to depend on somebody else to be strong. And this is an abdication of power. Believe me, characteristics.
Okay, but you used some big words there. Break it
Okay,
down. Break it down.
okay. When I said abdication of power, it's much like remember when I said that nowadays voting is an abdication of power. If someone tells you that the answer to our problem is for us to go vote, they're lying to you. They're lying to you, and they're lying to you on purpose. They're trying to
And
use,
politics are important. Being politically aware is important.
but they ain't the answer
But
to nothing.
self-reliance
Exactly.
is a totally different, and that is would you say one of the main
Characteristics of
that's
masculinity,
yeah, the primary
self-reliance. Exactly.
self-reliance.
They do not want you to feel as if you can do something without anyone
and
else.
and that self-reliance does not mean isolation. You
Right.
still are in community. As a matter of fact, the community becomes your accountability.
It's
um
an interdependent relationship, as
right.
opposed to we've made it a question of dependence versus independence, and it's not necessarily that simple. The best
And
position
all
is
of
for
those
us,
become buzzes.
right?
Those become buzzes.
And the best position is the third way, which is kind of an interdependency, which is where every person is the best person that they can be, and because they are the best person they can be, there is to whatever extent an interdependent relationship in the community on one another. That is,
Right.
I am raising my sons to be the best boys they can be, so that my sons don't go out and knock Marvel over the head and steal a purse. Now, if everybody
Well,
else is
if they
raising their
knock Marv
boys,
over the head and steal their
I'm making
purse,
so stay with me, Marva. Stop sidebarring.
I know, but I'm
All
just
right,
saying.
just hang in there. So, what happens though, Marva, if you raise your boy to be the best he can be, so that he don't go and stick me up in the dark alley and take my
Right.
wallet, then what we have done is, through our independency on each other, on our interdependence, we created a better community by raising better individuals. And our
Exactly.
individual interests have not conflicted and caused problems, but they have actually connected us better because we've
And
made better
that's what
people.
has happened in our society is this everybody do it your way, and it has kind of brought a lack of um consistency, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And that was why I wanted the word of the day to be dignified.
Okay.
Dignified is this connotation of worthy of respect.
Okay.
And one of the things that comes to mind when I think of that is this concept of a man amongst men. There
Okay.
used to be a bar
Right.
that I don't know. You can tell me if it still exists as this kind of man code.
Hmm. I don't know. We're recharacterizing so many different things. We're recategorizing so many different things, and the rules of 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 relationships, whether it be romantic relationships or interpersonal relationships, have changed so much that sometimes I think man code is not what it used to be. Um, and what I mean by that is there is no sense of loyalty. There's no great sense of loyalty. There's no outstanding sense of loyalty anywhere, and that's part of the problem. But
Loyalty to the code or loyalty in general?
loyalty, as a general word,
Okay.
for example,
I will totally agree with that. I think loyalty is huge um in in our community, especially
yeah. But see,
um
loyalty nowadays is very laced with self-interest, which is I am loyal to you
as
so
long as I'm
long.
getting, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the minute you lose power or influence to help me be loyal, then I'll betray you. For example, Marva, if you have a secret about me, let's say you have a secret about me, some horrible secret. Let's say I kissed a boy in sixth grade or something, and I told you in confidence, and I'm trying to be some great wonder or whatever, and you have this secret. Well, as long as you got this secret, then I got some of your secrets. We have a reason to be loyal to each other. But the minute that secret loses its power or effectiveness, then you don't have leverage, or I don't have leverage. And that's the problem. We don't have any sense that I'm loyal just because I'm supposed to be loyal. We have a sense of, we're leveraging this situation and leveraging that situation. No, loyalty doesn't require leverage. Loyalty requires commitment and, to whatever extent, covenant. Because
Mm,
loyalty well, let me tell you this: covenant has has rules, has laws, but covenant can't be broken. For example,
definitely.
God
Definitely.
God establishes His
The
covenant
the
with
the
with
blood
Israel.
bond.
Right. God establishes His covenant with Israel. He didn't break His word whatsoever. His covenant with them has not changed, even when they lived up to or did not live up to the terms of the agreement. His covenant was consistent because covenant is not dependent on your actions, it's dependent on the integrity of someone else's word. So our covenant is our covenant.
Integrity of someone else's word.
That's right, that's right,
and
that's right.
and and that, now that does not also diminish consequence.
That's right. Now there are consequences, but there is no breaking. The covenant can't be broken. There's yes, there.
Talk about that distinction, because I think a lot of people, they see those two as being separate issues and don't understand that remaining in covenant
Hmm.
is a totally separate thing from consequences, because there are
Right,
plenty of places in the text where
right.
we get some
Consequences.
consequences.
Right, but God never breaks covenant. Like for
So
example, he'll send pestilence among his people, right? He'll do things. He'll send snakes to deal with Moses' folks when they're acting crazy. He'll send she bears to deal with children when they're insulting the prophet. But these are consequences. His covenant with the people is not broken. He has maintained his covenant with the people. He maintains his covenant with you, which is the cornerstone of grace. You can get saved. Watch this, Marvin. This is gonna mess some people up. You can get saved, Marvin. Let's say 10 days in a row, and
days in a
then
row.
on the 11th day, I step on your toe, and you get mad to the point of anger, and then you woke up and smacked me in the back of the head. Now, God has not broken his covenant with you because you got angry and smacked me in the back of the head. That's not what happened. His grace will cover that. His grace is sufficient. His grace will deal with that transgression of the covenant relationship.
Now, but we can't misuse grace.
Well, I'm not promoting the misuse of grace. I'm
I
not even
know, but
promoting
I'm
the
just need
use
to.
of it.
We need to state that because
Well,
you got some folks that just they like to you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
I give you that, but
You got some folks that try to try to
but they
take
will.
things to the extreme. Some of God's children is different.
Most of God's children is different. I deal with y'all folk every day. So, you have to understand that the importance of covenant is that my bond with you, as my sister or my brother, it cannot be broken because it is transgressed. It won't be broken. There may be consequence. We may have to rebuild trust. We may have to reestablish some things, but the bond can't be broken because
We
we
might
are
have to
still
go
in
back to
covenant.
the potter all over again.
Right, but the covenant is still there. So now, and I don't know how we're gonna bring this back to masculinity, but we're coming back. So now there has to be a community that is in covenant with each other, right? That
Right.
has patience for our transgressions, right? And then has the sense or the sensibility to move forward from transgression to reconstruction without breaking. Now,
Now you said a whole lot right there.
I did. So
And I'm
now
gonna
what
have to
happened?
do better at going back and putting notes in to our conversations on this thing because I think we cover a lot of ground and people are going, who what?
Yeah, I think so too. Sometimes you got to watch us from the very beginning or you get lost. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
Yeah.
Prince Brian. Prince Brian's watching us right now. Shout out to Prince Brian. Um,
Hello.
so evidently, well, this is a good example. Evidently, my buddy Prince went off with some kid the other day somewhere, and there's been some issues behind that I guess are humorous and laughing. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I'm sure that at some point in time, that relationship can be reestablished and reconnected because the thing about manhood is we have to respect the right of other men to be men. And sometimes being a man means you're going to say dumb things, but you have to have the integrity to say those things without fear. And people have to have the patience with you to mature until you get to the place where you either know better or you say it better or you handle yourself better. But right now,
Well,
we just
and
don't
and
have that.
that's one of the differences in men and women. I think men are definitely much more forgiving than women. Two men can fight in the street, and tomorrow they playing basketball together. I mean, they just men just have a different way of resolution and letting things be bygones or whatever it is that happens in men. But women women are not like that. And I think the